everyone. So, I feel like we really need to go over why there is actually still hope in the world. It can feel pretty daunting at the moment. We live in a very strange time in the universe, and if you get caught up in thinking about all the things that could possibly disastrously go wrong at any time, well, you can easily get caught up with the idea that there is no hope, that there's no future, that there is no chance for humanity or possibly any other living thing on this planet. I can fall into that trap myself, absolutely. But I'd like to go over a little bit of the bad, some of the reasons why we might sort of freak out, and then some of the reasons where I find my hope in the world and I find some belief. It keeps me going. I hope it keeps you going too. Alright, let's get into it. Well, I guess the first thing to start with is one of the strangest things that's ever happened, which is that the United States now has a reality TV star as their commander-in-chief. The President, Donald Trump, is in power, and he is doing some very interesting, to say the least, things. Let's have a look at what Donald Trump has done. Well, just recently he has done some stuff with coal mining, sort of emphasizing that coal mining is the greatest way for the United States to make energy, and called it, basically, what was the term? It was, job decreasing, job sacrificing, something along those lines. I am paraphrasing, but that not being able to just dump your waste from coal mining into the surrounding streams and tributaries was taking jobs away from people. Well, other groups have done studies, and you can always find different people that do studies from one thing and another. Other groups have done studies and found that it really isn't going to lose a lot of jobs, but that's another thing. It is an environmental disaster, and if you go to the Appalachians and see what coal mining has already done to that region, there's certain places that are just wastelands. Not good, something to be concerned about. He, as of yesterday, decided that transgender people were not allowed to go in their schools to the bathroom they identify with. So if you are if you're transgender and you represent yourself as a male, you now have to go into the female bathrooms, and vice versa. Not a very progressive thing to sort of... Sorry about that, ran out of memory space. Was talking about the fact that changing these transgender laws, well, it's not very progressive. At the moment, I certainly believe that we need to be taking steps towards having less prejudice, more understanding, more unity, and this doesn't help. We have a current Attorney General who, in the meeting, absolutely forced his agenda, and to my surprise, a little bit of hope here, the new Education Secretary, Betsy DeVos, or Betsy DeVos, I'm not sure how you say that name, she actually stood up for transgender rights and stood up for the fact that bigotry, bullying and prejudice should not be a part of our school system in the United States, and by my opinion, the school system in any country. Actually, terrific that she stood up for that, though she was not successful. The other sort of very disturbing thing about being one of the most powerful men in the world, talking about President Donald Trump, and I use the term president because I respect the office. You'll probably be able to tell how I feel about the man, but the office deserves the respect, so he is President Trump to me. Lying without conscience is something that really disturbs me. A few years ago, he built Trump Tower, and, for a while he was running around accurately saying it had 58 floors, and then he sort of changes his tune because for whatever reason it wasn't big enough, and he says it has 68 floors or something like that. Easily verifiable, or not verifiable in this case. And I find that amazing, that you were willing to come out and just make a bold-faced lie that you know can be found out. But, you know, I think we had a president a few years ago who made the quote, "Fool me once, shame on..." Well, I just think you shouldn't get fooled again. It's a great quote. But actually, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And this is where, you know, he's come out, President Trump has come out tweeting a heck of a lot, and a lot of what he's tweeting is easily verified or not verified. And he has been found that he has been talking fake news, giving out misinformation, being called on it, found that he's wrong, and still does it. That's worrying when you have somebody who has that sort of mindset, that you sort of the 10-year-old child, that I can just keep lying, give me the attention, give me the attention. You know, that sort of very childish, ridiculous mindset. And, well, it's all right if you're not in a position of power, but he's in one of the greatest positions of power. And I wouldn't care if he was conservative, liberal, wherever he came from. If you have that mindset, it's a very disturbing thing. Another thing to sort of be worried about is the massive iceberg coming off, is it Landers Shelf? I think so, from Antarctica. It's a massive iceberg, many miles wide and many miles across. I don't have the exact dimensions, but it is many miles. It's, you know, sort of 17-mile crack and 5 miles thick. To give you some sort of idea, it is bigger than the state of Delaware. That's crazy. Anyway, it's going to be breaking off and floating into the Southern Ocean. Yes, the Southern Ocean does exist for all of you people that didn't grow up in the Southern Hemisphere and have never heard of it. Anyway, it's breaking off and it's going into the Southern Ocean, and let's be honest, it's the first of many. And this comes back to, we have, you know, a president, we have a lot of people, most of them industrialists, denying that global warming exists. Well, Antarctica is breaking up, people, and that, if that isn't a sign, you know, there's a sign, a truth. You know, scientists can't agree about anything, but 97% of scientists in this world believe that global warming is not just a thing, but it's here, it's now, it's kicking us in the ass, and we're going to see real change really quickly, and Antarctica is a great example of that. We absolutely, positively have to stand up and take notice and start changing our ways. And if we start backing the coal industry instead of renewable energy resources, that's bad. I should sort of tick this along, I guess. North Korea is a major issue. They've been testing nukes. They just recently dropped one into the Sea of Japan. They plan to do ICBM testing, intercontinental ballistic missile testing, coming up very soon. That is disturbing, considering their stance that they want to turn the major cities of the United States into seas of fire. Now, of course, it is mutually assured destruction. One nuke leaves that country and goes basically anywhere, and they are in a world of hurt. But that doesn't change the fact that one nuclear bomb can have utterly devastating results. And when you've got a dictator like Kim Jong-un, who by some accounts just murdered his uncle in Malaysia, poisoned his uncle in an airport, the man's probably, he's a little unstable, let's be honest. This week we have had a very disturbing, piece of news, and man, when bullshit theories are allowed to take root, it's amazing who comes out of the woodwork. And the bullshit theory that the Earth might be flat. Oh, come on, people. Well, NASA could be, they could be messing with all of... Not every person, not every journalist in this world has a agenda of misinformation just to fuck with us, right? That's, if you work in journalism and you talk to some journalists, these people are just trying to get by like the rest of us. They don't have a massive agenda. Maybe some editors do. Maybe they do have a big agenda. But by and large, people are people, and the Earth is not flat. We revolve around the sun. I'm not even going to go into why the Earth isn't flat. But the problem is that, a bit like the transgender thing, we should be progressing in our knowledge. We should be growing in our knowledge. And when these people come out of the woodwork and they're like, well, I always thought that the world was flat. Now let me tell you some of my other crappy ideas. These people who have dumb ideas, yes, there's freedom of speech. But is there really freedom to be super fucking stupid and uneducated and not advancing this world and deciding to leave the world a little bit worse rather than a little bit better when you happen to snuff this mortal coil? Seagrass is an important habitat all over the world. We're losing it by, football fields every single, hour. Important habitat, important food source. It supports reefs. We're losing that all over the place. Another reason to be worried about the future of the world. We are in the 6th extinction event, also known as the Anthropocene extinction. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We're up to 140,000 species a year are dying out, and it is because of us. Yes, man, humans, man, woman, woman, man. Yeah, we're doing it. We're destroying habitat. We're destroying, we're taking away food sources. We are just moving in, which I guess is those last things, but still, it is because of us. This is very, very serious because the biodiversity on our planet absolutely adds to the ability for things to evolve. As things evolve, they become food sources. They find food sources. We keep the balance. Oh, balance. Yes, and we're losing the balance on this planet, and we're losing the war in many ways. So I could go on forever about the things that are bad. Let's get on to why I have hope. Because whenever I turn on the internet or wherever I turn on the news, I walk outside, I talk to some idiot next door who tells me that, oh, there's no such thing as global warming. I find myself sort of, it sows the seeds of depression. It sows the seeds of doubt. And those are not good seeds to sow. But then I happen to watch a TED Talk, and there's this young teenage kid, and he has built a nuclear reactor in his garage because he wants to solve the world's energy problems. This young kid is now in his early 20s, and his name is Taylor Wilson. And he is an amazing young man. And in the most recent TED Talk I saw him, he proclaimed that while science had gotten us into a lot of problems, he believed that science would get us out of them, and he was working with a vim and vigour previously very rarely seen, and that boy is trying to make a difference. And it's when I see people like that, really intelligent people who have in their hearts to grow humanity, to save humanity, to save the world, to make the world a better place when they leave than when they came in. And when you're as smart as Taylor Wilson, who, you know, way beyond my level, probably way beyond many people's level, you know, maybe Terence Tao and, and a few people like that, but this guy's the businessman. That gives me hope when people are going to use their great gifts to try and make things better. Speaking of which, we have a man named Elon Musk. If you look up a couple of his videos, I mean, this guy is a tireless worker and he believes in making the world a better place. He is the creator of Tesla cars. Tesla cars are a self-driving, no-emissions vehicle. And do they work? Well, absolutely they work. Dubai just bought 200 of the things so that they can start a taxi service. But you know, Elon, he could sit back on his successes with Tesla and not do anything with it, just sit back and watch the money roll in, because he has now created a very successful company. One of, you know, he wants it to be the best manufacturing company in the world. But instead of sitting back and just being an entrepreneur, he has realized that these vehicles, once they are adopted, these safe driving vehicles that crash far less because they just don't make the same sort of general errors that we make as human beings. We're going to see the truck driving industry, the taxi driving industry, the courier industry. We're going to see these cars come in everywhere, and by his estimation, over 10% of the jobs on this planet are people that have licenses and drive for a living. So what is he doing? Well, he is trying to create a neural net, yes, something that will attach to your brain so that we can digitally increase our memory, digitally increase our output speed, because at the moment, like me talking, like typing or writing, we can only output as fast as we can do these things. Whereas even today, a computer can put out 1 terabyte of information a second, and that's only getting faster. And if we're going to compete with AI, and yes, a self-driving car is a form of AI, it responds to stimuli, it reacts to stimuli, it reacts to different stimuli in different ways. It is a form of artificial intelligence. We are there, and it is getting better, and he is a visionary. Now, maybe you don't believe that we can ever be digitally attached to computers, and maybe you don't believe that that is the direction that we should go. But at least somebody who has been ultra successful has turned around and said, I'm going to try and solve the problems of unemployment in my own way. That's somewhat altruistic, and it gives me hope. Also, he joined the Trump administration because he said, I would rather be inside trying to help than be on the outside not being able to do anything. Now, can one man change Trump's opinion, or, excuse me, President Trump's opinion? Or can he change the opinion of his advisors? Well, it is small changes that we can make, and he is trying to do them. In fact, when you look at the goals and successes that Elon Musk has had, it is easy to look back at yourself and say, but man, my dreams weren't to send a spaceship to Mars, which he's already got proof of concept. I didn't want to make a self-driving, no-emissions car. I didn't want to do a neural net. I didn't want to build a tunnel under Los Angeles. You know, I didn't want to do these things. Heck, he's gone out and done those. I just wanted to get published, or I just wanted to, you know, finish my university degree, or I just wanted to, you know, get a decent job. I just, you know, I wanted to have 2 cars and a garage to park them in, and a nice house and a dog. You know, and we're sitting, and you know, so many of us are sitting back going, oh, but I'm scared to take the steps I need to take to make change and be different. Ah! I don't know why I put on a girl's voice there. Girls are fierce, man, so I don't know. Whatever. Sorry about that, anybody who was offended. But maybe you needed to be offended. Thank you, suicidal tendencies. Anyway, I get hope when I see people like Taylor Wilson, people like Elon Musk making a difference. Augmented reality, people. What a trip. You put on these goggles, a holographic image is imprinted onto your retina, and you literally see a computer interface out here that you can interface with and move things around. Crazy. It's not in its infancy, but it is not there yet, and it will be a while until, say, we get 5G uploading speed, you know, from satellites and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, by the way, the Earth is flat. Yeah, you know those cell phones that you use to call up people to verify that they believe the Earth is flat as well? Yeah, they have to bounce off satellites that go, oh hang on, around the Earth? WTF! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. AR, however, could very much change our interface with personal computers, televisions, give us information. We could wear goggles, glasses, whatever. At the moment, Star Trek wouldn't even let you on their ship with just how bad these AR goggles look. But we're getting smaller, we're getting better, whatever. But you can go outside, you can look up into the sky, you can see the wind speed, you can see the temperature, you can, you know, ask your goggles to find you the way to the next restaurant, or GPS you around, give you whatever. Now, whether you like the idea of something being, a holograph being imprinted on your retina, it is a massive technological advance, and it potentially has negative and potentially positive, but I like to look at the advances as showing that we are coming up with new and innovative ways to think of ourselves and our technology, and that is hopeful. We have de-extinction research. Well, you know, you could argue that these animals went extinct for a reason. Maybe because of us, maybe because the climate changed so much. They are trying to bring back the woolly mammoth. Some say, I read an article in the BBC yesterday saying that a Harvard group is about 2 years from creating a viable embryo. Nowhere to put the embryo really, but it could be a viable embryo. Are we going to see woolly mammoths running through Siberia and eating up all the flora that is holding in so much heat up there and causing problems with the permafrost? No, probably not. Probably not anytime soon. However, they are using a technology created by a Japanese group and a Japanese person who has found a way to take skin cells and then get them to genetically change themselves into stem cells. Sort of taking that moral idea of stem cells coming from the placenta, and, you know, taking that moral idea away from the production of stem cells. And stem cells could have so many, in fact do, have so many applications. Healing diseases, anti-aging, anyway. More than my little brain can remember right at the moment. But it is another advancement where we've taken something and never thought that we could turn skin cells into stem cells. And I believe that one stem cell is not the same as another stem cell, but that's beyond the point. We are advancing, and that is hopeful. Very, very hopeful. And with that, we have medical advances. We now have targeted cancer therapy, where we can find genetically what that cancer doesn't want, and we can design drugs that will specifically target that cancer. And sometimes the drugs are not what you think. I heard a story, I'd not verified, but I heard a story yesterday that that they found from this targeted cancer therapy that it was actually blood pressure medicine. Just simple blood pressure medicine went and attacked this cancer, and the person went into remission. Not verified, as I say, but still a very hopeful story. We We've also been creating new proteins that go in, attached to the proteins that surround, say, the cold virus, and shut them down, make that virus inert. Well, that's a huge advance and has many applications to fight viruses in the future. Now, that is not at market yet. That is still in the design and research phase, but still, it is hope. It is hope. And while it's easy to look at all the potential problems that exist, we are making advances, and with time and with money, resources, these are many, many advances that we never thought would happen are happening. You see this big ass cell phone? This is my cell phone. Well, 10 years ago, when, say, 20 years ago when I met my wife, if I told her about what my cell phone can do today, she would never have believed me. Some of the apps that this has, just check out Pokemon Go. It uses a pseudo augmented reality program where you can turn your phone around, point it at things, and you will see a little critter there, and then you have to bang it on the phone. I believe that's how it works. I've never played it. But this is amazing. The fact that I was able to build a computer by myself, and now I've got several screens attached to it. The ability to get onto the internet, which is my next thing, and learn and get information and knowledge. Man, the aforementioned Taylor Wilson never went to college. Smartest guy in the world, arguably, and he never went to college. You don't have to follow the prescribed route to be able to get educated, to get intelligent, to become aware. And the internet is bridging social and economic gaps so that we are more aware of what people grow up and believe in different continents than we actually grew up in. The first world is more aware of the second world, is more aware of the third world, and vice versa, you know. We are all now much more aware of the trials and tribulations that we all go through to survive and to live, and the internet is an amazing resource that is available to a massive and ever-growing population on this planet. And it is allowing us to celebrate our similarities rather than emphasize our differences. And it is the similarities that bring us together and allow us to have positive discourse, conversations on our differing opinions, on the facts that we find different from one culture to another culture, from one ideology to another ideology. And it gives me hope that we can open these lines of communication and that we can bring ourselves closer together rather than push ourselves further apart. Because we have to come together as the one race that we are, the human race. It doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter where you grew up, it doesn't matter how you grew, you are all part, if you are listening to this, you are part of the human race. And you are my brother or you are my sister. And I want the best for you and all people on this globe. And we need to get together because we have a massive population problem. We have a massive global warming problem. We have a massive energy problem. And we are soon to have a water crisis that will rock the very foundations of our ability to nourish ourselves. But there is hope. And the last hope, which is a little bit of a joke, but this guy is not a joke. It is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Shout out to The Rock, man. You are an inspiration to all of us. He knows that all change starts with us. You have to find it in yourself. You are the one that has to lie down in your bed each night and go to sleep. You are the one that must get up from your bed each morning and fight for your day. Get excited about it. You are the only one that can raise the energy within yourself to do that. and you need to raise the energy in yourself to do that. This has been a very long video, but it's extremely important. You are the one that must be accountable for you, and Dwayne Johnson absolutely talks that. That guy is in the gym by about 4:30 every morning. He tires me out just thinking about how hard that guy works. And if you want to change the world, if you want to change yourself, you have to take inspiration from these people that realize that it is all up to us as individuals to bring it, man. Bring it every day. There is hope out there. I have hope. I have hope in you. I have hope in me. We can all get better. I believe in all of you. I believe. I hope you can too. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm the SilverBack, and I'll catch you next time.